Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, please listen to your verdict as it is read. Verdict. We, the jury, have reached our verdict as to damages in this case. We award damages to each plaintiff and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, LLC, as follows. Roman numeral 1, compensatory damages. Instructions. Fill in both numbers for each plaintiff, then go to section 2. Please enter your damages assessments for each plaintiff on the lines below. To plaintiff Robbie Parker. A, defamation/slander damages past and future, $60 million. B, emotional distress damages past and future, $60 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Robert Parker and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, and line A and line B, total $120 million, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff David Wheeler. A, defamation/slander damages past and future, $25 million. B, emotional distress damages past and future, $30 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff David Wheeler and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, at line A and line B, $55 million, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Francine Wheeler. A, defamation/slander damages past and future, $24 million. B, emotional distress damages past and future, $30 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Francine Wheeler and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, at line A and line B, total $54 million, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Jacqueline Barden. A, defamation/slander damages past and future, $10 million. B, emotional distress damages past and future, $18,800,000. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Jacqueline Barden and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, at line A and line B, $28,800,000, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Mark Barden. A, defamation/slander damages past and future, $25 million. B, emotional distress damages past and future, $32,600,000. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Mark Barden and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, at line A and line B, $57,600,000, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Nicole Hockley. A, defamation/slander damages past and future, $32 million. B, emotional distress damages past and future, $41,600,000. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Nicole Hockley and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, at line A and line B, $73,600,000, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Ian Hockley. A, defamation/slander damages past and future, $38 million. B, emotional distress damages past and future, $43,600,000. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Ian Hockley and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, at line A and line B, $81,600,000, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Jennifer Hensel. A, defamation/slander damages past and future, $21 million. B, emotional distress damages past and future, $31 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Jennifer Hensel and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, at line A and line B, $52 million, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Donna Soto. A, defamation/slander damages past and future, $18 million. B, emotional distress damages past and future, $30 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Donna Soto and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, at line A and line B, $48 million, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Carly Soto Parisi. A, defamation slash slander damages, past and future, $30 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $36 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Carly Soto Parisi and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, as line A and line B, $66 million, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Carlos Matthew Soto. A, defamation slash slander damages, past and future, $18,600,000. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $39 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Carlos Matthew Soto and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $57,600,000, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Jillian Soto Marino. A, defamation slash slander damages, past and future, $30 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $38,800,000. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Jillian Soto Marino and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $68,800,000, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff William Aldenberg. Defamation slash slander damages, past and future, $45 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $45 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff William Aldenberg and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $90 million, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Erica Lafferty. A, defamation slash slander damages, past and future, $18 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $58 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Erica Lafferty and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $76 million, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff William Sherlach. A, defamation slash slander damages, past and future, $9 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $27 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff William Sherlach and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $36 million, initialed by juror number 1. Number 2, award of attorney's fees and costs. Instructions, check yes or no. If you check yes, the judge will determine the amount due to the plaintiff for reasonable attorney's fees and costs, and will then award the plaintiffs that amount at a later date. If you check no, the judge will award $1 to the plaintiffs for their attorney's fees and costs. We, the jury, find that the standard charged for the assessment of attorney's fees and costs have been met. Yes, it's checked. Reasonable attorney's fees and costs to be awarded by the judge at a later date. Initialed by juror number 1. And the last page is the four-person juror number 1 signature in the date of 10/12/2022, also initialed by juror number 1.
The verdict may be accepted and recorded.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, please listen to your verdict as it has been accepted and recorded.
2 minutes.
No, all right. Verdict. We, the jury, have reached our verdict as to damages in this case. We award damages to each plaintiff and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, LLC, as follows. Number 1, compensatory damages. Instructions. Fill in both numbers for each plaintiff, then go to section 2. Please enter your damages assessments for each plaintiff on the lines below. To plaintiff Robert Parker. A, defamation slash slander damages, past and future, $60 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $60 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Robert Parker and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $120 million, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff David Wheeler. A, defamation slash slander damages, past and future, $25 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $30 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff David Wheeler and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $55 million, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Francine Wheeler. A, defamation/slander damages, past and future, $24 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $30 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Francine Wheeler and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $54 million, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Jacqueline Barden. A, defamation/slander damages, past and future, $10 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $18,800,000. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Jacqueline Barden and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $28,800,000, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Mark Barden. A, defamation/slander damages, past and future, $25 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $32,600,000. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Mark Barden and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $57,600,000, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Nicole Hockley. A, defamation/slander damages, past and future, $32 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $41,600,000. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Nicole Hockley and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $73,600,000, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Ian Hockley. A, defamation/slander damages, past and future, $38 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $43,600,000. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Ian Hockley and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $81,600,000, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Jennifer Hensley. A, defamation/slander damages, past and future, $21 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $31 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Jennifer Hensel and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $52 million, initialed by juror number 1. To the plaintiff Donna Soto. A, defamation/slander damages, past and future, $18 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $30 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Donna Soto and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $48 million, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Carly Soto Parisi. A, defamation/slander damages, past and future, $30 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $36 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Carly Soto Parisi and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $66 million, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Carlos Matthew Soto. A, defamation/slander damages, past and future, $18,600,000. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $39 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Carlos Matthew Soto and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $57,600,000, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Jillian Soto Marino. A, defamation/slander damages, past and future, $30 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $38,800,000. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Jillian Soto Marino and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $68,800,000, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff William Aldenberg. A, defamation/slander damages past and future, $45 million. B, emotional distress damages past and future, $45 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff William Aldenberg and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $90 million, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff Erica Lafferty, A, defamation/slander damages past and future, $18 million. B, emotional distress damages past and future, $58 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Erica Lafferty and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $76 million, initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff William Sherlock, A, defamation/slander damages past and future, $9 million. B, emotional distress damages past and future, $27 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff William Sherlock and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B, $36 million, initialed by juror number 1. Roman numeral 2, award of attorney's fees and costs. Instructions. Check yes or no. Check yes, the judge will determine the amount due to the plaintiff for reasonable attorney's fees and costs and will then award the plaintiffs that amount at a later date. If you check no, the judge will award $1 to the plaintiffs for their attorney's fees and costs. We, the jury, find that the standard charge for the assessment of attorney's fees and costs has been met. Yes is checked. Reasonable attorney's fees and costs to be awarded by the judge at a later date. Initialed by juror number 1. The last page is juror number 1's signature and the date 10/12/2022, and is also initialed by juror number 1. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, do you all agree that this is your verdict?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Anything further, counsel, before I discharge the jury?
Nothing from the defense, Judge.
All right. Now, as you will recall, when we started the case, I read some preliminary instructions to you, and I now have a brief, and I promise you, brief statement to read to you regarding post-verdict communications. You've now concluded your service as jurors, and jurors often ask whether they can discuss their jury experience with others. Under our law, that decision remains solely with each one of you. If you wish to discuss your jury service with others when you're asked about it, or even if you're not asked about it, you may do so. On the other hand, if you choose not to discuss your jury service with others, you may refuse to do so. The choice is yours. It is your right to decide whether to speak or not speak about your experience. Now, you may be contacted by members of the media seeking comment from you about your experience in this case. You are under no obligation to speak to the media, nor do you need to provide any explanation for not doing so. As you know, highly publicized trials may arouse strong reactions in the public. For this reason and others, you may wish not to publicize your service as a juror. That decision is entirely your own. Now I can deviate from the script. On a personal note, I would like to thank you all for your service and your dedication in serving on this jury, for taking time out of your busy lives. I hope that you found the experience a rewarding one, and I thank you for your service on behalf of the parties, the lawyer, and the court. You are hereby formally discharged from your service as jurors. Thank you again. We are adjourned.
You just heard the compensatory damages awarded by the jury to each of the 15 plaintiffs in this case. That means the actual damages, the equivalent to the loss the parties suffered, totaling $965 million if my calculations are correct, and sometimes be cautious believing an attorney with the numbers. But as they were reading through and I added those out, that's the total. Stay with us. We're going to bring you continuing live coverage here on Court TV, your front row seat to justice.